Hello viewers, it's the MicroSyntax and welcome to another Starcraft 2 match. This one is going to be a 2-on-2. Our opponents being Bayon. Actually, why don't I just... Whoops, you can't do that in 2-on-2. Okay, well, our opponents being Bayon, the red Terran, and MicroSyntax, blue Terran. I'm going to be the purple Protoss. Purple's a great color. And Puppies, also known as MLS, from Magicka and Civ fame in my Let's Plays. He will be the teal Protoss, yes. So this is a 2-on-2 match, and it's going to be 2 Terrans versus 2 Protoss. Still working on Protoss, yes. Probably going to say that for like my next 30 videos until I'm actually comfortable with them, or as comfortable with them as I am with Zerg. Pretty standard stuff here. We knew they were Terran going into the map, so it wasn't any random draws or anything. So I'm just going to go standard 12 gate, 9 pylon 12 gate. Puppies is going to do the same, and we're going to see largely the same kind of stuff from the Terran, with the exception of red walling off. And no, actually I take that back. MicroSyntax was a random player in this game, as I recall. So we're going to send off a scouting unit. He's going to scout us. Of course, that's going to reveal what he is. So right around now, we know it's 2 Terrans, although I don't think we commented on that in the Skype chat until MLS actually got over here. Or Puppies. I guess I'll just say Puppies since that's his in-game name. A little bit less confusing. And so I'm opening up with what I've been opening up, pretty standard recently for me. Not sure if the second pylon is better before or after a second gateway, but it seems like I can get away with a little bit more of probing. Probing. By getting the pylon second before the second gateway. So that's probably what I'm going to stick to for now. Maybe I'll try out the other way once. That would certainly serve to show pressure. So yeah, I got a little patrolling here. I do see the second barracks. I do call that out. So we're going to look for some early pressure from the Terran. And similarly, I believe, let's see here. Oop. Did Puppy see the second racks? He did. So we are basically seeing double racks from 2 Terrans and saw it coming all the way. So we're going to grab a couple extra gateways here. I'm going to get a 3rd gateway as well. And we're basically just going to try to stop any Marine Marauder type pushes from shafting us too greatly. Another pylon going up. If you look at the units count here, we are pretty far ahead of the Terran, but that's standard for Protoss versus Terran at this point in the game thanks to chrono boosting. And Puppies is kind of copied my late gas here, so he's going to keep up with me as well. I wish I could do something for comparison's sake, but I guess that'll set the state of my one-on-one mirror match Protoss. And yeah, they're grabbing Marauders now. And I find that rather interesting that Terran will go Marines Marauders against Zealot play. Certainly Marauders are far better against Stalkers than they are against Zealots. I would say Marines probably a little bit better against Zealots than Stalkers just because they don't do a great deal against Stalkers. Stalkers outrange them and are faster than them, so Stalkers can get a little bit of kiting action going on. And Zealots take a decent chunk of damage from Marines, at least pre-upgrades. So Marines a little bit better against Zealots, and Marauders much better against Stalkers than they are against Zealots. So the Stalker choice, a little bit of a head scratcher. They haven't scouted me at all. And what they've scouted from Puppies, I guess they really don't know what we're doing. So they're just guessing. Okay, well that's fine too. And yeah, he actually is loading up on the Marine, so that's a bit more reasonable in this situation. Certainly though, we're keeping up in numbers here, so they're not going to be able to do a whole lot with early pressure. I've even managed to pump out some sentries. And I do like to get some sentries early in the matchup against Terran. Not only can you wall your ramp, but you have Guardian Shield. And what Guardian Shield will do is it'll reduce the damage from the Marines from 6 to 4 against Zealots. And you have another armor as well. So it's more like they're doing 3 damage a shot to Zealots. Really pitiful behind the Guardian Shield. Yeah, Puppies is waiting for me to react. Here I come. He did lose some Zealots there, so we're seeing some kind of early timing push/rush something or other from our opponents. This is Gold Link, by the way, so take what you will from that. But yeah, just behind the Guardian shield, this is pretty threatening, and they're going to have to run away. Puppies probably should have... Nah, I don't know. He needs to keep moving to protect his probes. I was going to say maybe he should have stopped and killed the Marines, but I'm not so convinced of that. And now we're just going to try to basically cut them off and kill off all their forces. Yeah, they're going to stop some mining time for Puppies here, but it's probably not worth giving up their entire early armies. And if you check out the units lost tab, this is pretty painful. Puppies actually lost more than he should have. He probably should have pulled the Zealots back and waited for me. But even so, we're looking at relatively even trade there, so whatever. And we are still up on Harvesters. And since now the enemy has no army, essentially, or the same army as they had before, well, I'm going to take an expansion right away. And just work from there. I've gone up a bit in tech now. I have picked up gas. I had enough probes to switch over to some gas without really losing much on mineral income. So if you're going to get it, that's the time to get it. I did drop a cannon back here. This is a favorite area for Terran to drop, so sticking that there will at least delay some damage and make it so that the dropship has to drop them here, or back here would be problematic, so maybe I'll get a cannon there eventually as well. Yeah, actually that was the exact thought process I had in the game. So now if he wants to do a drop on this base, he's going to have to drop over here where he can't do as much damage right away and I have more time to react. Or he's going to have to do something about these cannons, but most likely he'll just drop here, and that's going to delay any damage he can do to my probe line, giving me more time to react. And since I'm not an uber elite pro, I need that time to react. I think some uber elite pros need that time to react, as I see them lose a lot of Harvesters on occasion to drops. So maybe defensive structure is a little underutilized, especially in Zerg versus Terran. Why not just drop a spore in the only direction that the dropships can realistically come after you? You'll do a lot better that way. But, what do I know? Of course, eventually, the pros do start doing some of that stuff. I remember advocating upgrades early on a lot, and now more pros are doing that. And basically just taking the ideas of the lesser players, but executing them much better. I've seen some incredible things from pros in the recent casts. And here we have blue pushing up again. I am getting Zealot charged. It's not done yet, so that's not ideal. But he's going to struggle here due to Guardian's shield, although blue Flame Hellions are not the best site for Zealots. And that's a pretty good read by blue to pick those up. But he still doesn't want to take me on too much there, because he can get he can get walled off by a force field. But now he's overcommitting, and I'm not sure why he went there alone, because obviously this expansion is central between the two bases, and by running his forces past our ramps, we were easily able to bring our forces in here and clean them up, and without Red to support his offense, pretty easy pickings there. So even though he had a decent chunk of counter units to us, we were really able to cut down Red's forces pretty decently. We are picking up forces, and yeah, here we got dropped. Maybe I can bring that back. Let's just see. Come on. Be good to me. Okay, a little bit more. Well, that should be good enough. As this is something I actually missed in game as well, so it's probably a good idea to review. While this stuff down here is going on, we're going to see a drop up here. I don't know the exact... Okay, yeah, so he did come from up here and then saw the cannon probably, and just opted not to do that. Yeah, definitely saw the cannon. But now he's going to kill a couple probes only, and his tank's going to be shooting that cannon. That's going to give me plenty of time to react and come up here. I do transfer these probes that were on this side over. I'm going to lose some more workers just because they kind of tend to go over here, which is really annoying. Yeah, focus the medevac with the sentries and force it off so it can't pick anything up, and then just clean that up. So units lost. Not too favorable for red or blue, really. They've inflicted some damage on Puppies, but I'm still taking way less than them. So, oh well. Now, what's that? Oh, I can't bring up that workers lost thing because it's a 2-on-2. Well, whatever. Yeah, I think, yeah, they do have the Zelnaga watchtowers in the middle. A little bit of a misplay by us. And now I'm just going to basically saturates this expansion. Blue has one up, and we do see that Puppies has invested in observers. In future games, I'll be investing in observers as well. But we're really not feeling that bad. You look at the supply count. Blue's at 61, Red's at 57. We're ahead of them, well ahead of them in supply. Well ahead of them in workers, I believe. Yes, especially me. I'm a full... I'm more than 10 workers ahead of either Terran player. And Puppies is as well. Well, yeah, now he is. So big economic advantage for us, especially since we have 4 bases on our side, whereas these guys only have 3. So we have an advantage, and they're tech switching a little bit. No upgrades for blue, and nothing for red. Whereas we're already looking at 1-1 on me, and what's on Puppies? Oh man, come on Puppies. You gotta get those upgrades. And I recall him saying something about that in game. And then he's like, how do you get ground weapons level 1 or something? And I'm like, yeah, build a forge. Because he asked how to get upgrades or something. I'm like, you need a Twilight Council to get the more advanced upgrades. And he's like, oh, but how do you get the first upgrades? Yeah, it was a good moment. So now Red is taking an expansion. Still isn't saturated. Now he's getting the transfer done. But again, just a huge disparity in income because of that. Ouch. And we're starting to consider pushing out. Still, they have the watchtowers. In future games, we've decided that we're going to be playing for these watchtowers a little bit more strongly, as a lot of the most common attacks do involve coming across watchtowers in 2-on-2 matches. And, well, even in 1-on-1, it's good to control the Xel'Naga watchtowers. So map control is important. Thors are an interesting choice. Hellions, I agree with more. Against Zealots, Thors are okay, but they're not great. Zealots are reasonably cost-effective against them. And because the Thors don't get that versus armored damage, where is it? Yeah. Well, they don't get the extra, they don't get any bonus damage against Zealots, and with charge lots, they can be on them really quickly. Now, Hellions, on the other hand, are very good against Zealots, so we're going to have to see how this plays out, because as you see, we're pretty Zealot heavy, especially me. I have a lot of sentries, too. It really screws over Marines to have this many sentries, because you can just spam Guardian Shield, spam Sentry, although with Thor's out, not spam Sentry, spam Force Fields, although Thors can kind of get through Force Fields since they're massive and can just stomp on them, so that kind of sucks. I am working in some High Templar, researching Psystorms eventually, or do I have it already? I'm pretty sure I have it already. Yeah, I just don't have the energy for it. There it is. So I do have Psystorm available to my High Templar as well. So I can throw down some storms on the lesser stuff, such as Hellions, which are pretty frail. While they certainly do a lot of damage to Zealots, they don't take a lot of hits well themselves, and charge lots can threaten them, as can Psystorm if they decide to stop in it. Although they're fast enough to get out of them for the most part. But if they're running away, they're not doing as much damage, and they're going to expose the things they're supposedly covering. But here is probably the more interesting moments in the game. We are going to scout them, basically clearing this expo. Yeah, because of Puppies' control of the Xel'Naga watchtower, so we did eventually get it. They chased me off here, but Poppy still had his, and so we saw this force down here. Meanwhile, I'm taking my third up here. Again, just abusing cannon somewhat, playing way more newbie defensively than I probably need to be playing, although this does really interrupt a lot of common strategies that harass expos, and doing a small transfer here as well. So yeah, now they're just camping the watchtower, and do we see this? Not just yet, not just yet. Kind of just Hatfield and McCoying the map here, with people standing on either side. Not the best. I would love to get to the point where I can bring you guys a little bit more action-packed games, where there's always something to be going on the minimap, rather than just in a couple specific instances. If anything, blue helped us out a little bit with that drop earlier. Or maybe it was red. I forget which one of them dropped. But yeah, there we go. Puppy's got the scout off, pinged it to me, and said, let's go hit them down there. And I'm like, sure, let's go hit them down there. I knew red had some forces up here. So it felt pretty good, you know. It felt pretty good that we would be able to do well. And yeah, here they see us moving out. Red's starting to come back down, but they don't run. So I'm going to actually slow this down a little bit, because these fights are so fun. Actually, pause. That's a mess. Units. 26 zealots for Puppies, 33 zealots for me. We each have some immortals. He's worked in a couple void rates. I have a lot of sentries and a couple high Templar. They got a decent chunk of Thors. They've gone mech. They have ravens for our observers, Hellions to counter us. But the problem here is that we have larger armies, and the second problem for them is, you know, what's this? These guys aren't in the fight yet, whereas we don't have a whole lot that's not in the fight. Puppies has a couple things, but not as much, and Red is just out fishing right now. So this is a big problem in 2-on-2 matches when only one army at a time is fighting. And yeah, these Hellions are trying to come back and do their blue flame thing, but they are getting charge lotted. This air is practically useless because we didn't actually go Colossus, and they didn't scout that very well apparently. And yeah, this stuff's running around, but it's going to get destroyed by the charge lots. And over here now Red shows up to the fray, but he's only helping out on Blue's reinforcements, not on in general. And I don't know what went on with this. I didn't. I thought I had them control group to 2, but I hit 2 and nothing happened. And then I realized that I was just sending my highly gas-intensive units to their deaths. So it's a good thing that we fought their armies separately like that, because it allowed us to get away with such oversights as me blowing a lot of my high Templar away. And yeah, now it's just clean up. The sentries are going to deal with the Vikings easily enough. The Vikings really don't have anything to attack. Immortals are going to blow through the tanks and Thors, and the Zealots are going to clean up a lot of this stuff as well. Plus, Hellions aren't especially great against Immortals either. Yeah. And they're pretty much on the run now. And without any military, now the supply discrepancy is pretty huge. A lot of their supplies tied up in workers. They basically have nothing. And since we knew that this turn didn't wall off, we just walked right into his base. Walling off probably not the best idea against Protoss anyway. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up. This is largely over now. They don't really have any forces. More Guardian Shield abuse, you know, just to reduce the damage a little bit. It's pretty much all I could do with all these sentries once they start throwing around Thors. But I still like them. They're the Guardian Shield is useful. And when you need a gas dump, there you go, you get a gas dump. We do also have an upgrade advantage pretty severely on these guys. What are they at? 0, 0, 1, 1. I have 3 weapons upgrades and 2 armor. So that's pretty nasty. Puppies is at 1, 1, but he also has an air upgrade, so he's ahead of them as well. We just force our way up the ramp, and that's going to be a good game. There's really not a whole lot the other team can do. So, thumbs up if you liked the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. TheMeInTeam signing off.